Guys, coming another movie for you guys. Now, this movie reviewing, this is a movie that I was definitely really looking forward to. Like I said, I'm trying to review all of the major horror movies before October ends. That way I can catch up on that. I know there's been a ton of horror movies that have come out that I have not reviewed, so I'm going to just spend the rest of the movies I review in October being horror movies. But this was one in particular I was definitely looking forward to. I remember I wanted to see this in theaters, and again, just like Conjuring 2, I didn't get to see it. But that movie is the feature-length film, not the shorts, of Lights Out. Like I said, this is a movie I was definitely looking forward to. I thought it looked genuinely scary. I thought the concept looked original. And in general, it just looked like a very entertaining horror film. I was really looking forward to it, especially the fact it was based off of an original shorts. And I have to say, after watching Lights Out, while this isn't a perfect horror movie, it certainly is one of the better ones to come out in a long time. I really enjoyed Lights Out because while this movie is a horror movie, just like Conjuring 2, it's not just a horror movie. And I'll get into that when we get to the plot of Lights Out and when we get to, more into the story and things like that. But let's get to the plot of Lights Out. The plot of this movie is very simple. Basically, we focus on this girl, Rebecca, played by Teresa Palmer. She has recently, well, not recently, but she's moved away from, her family and everything because her mother has this mental illness. She's not quite sure what's going on, but her brother Martin starts to notice signals, certain things going on with their mother Sophie. She can't really take care of him, so Rebecca takes care of him. But when this starts to happen, more of Rebecca's childhood starts to come to her in the form of this demon, and that's all I'm really gonna say. I don't want to say more about the movie, or else I'm going to ruin the plot of the movie for you. But that basically is the plot of Lights Out. Knowing that, let's get into the cast, which is definitely something I want to talk about. Something that makes or breaks, I think, any horror movie nowadays is the cast. While the scares are definitely important, the cast really does make it. Are these characters rootable? Are these actors good? And let me just say that yes, that is absolutely the case. This movie actually has some of the best characters I have seen in any horror movie in a very long time. I think the characters in this movie are very well realized. But let's first talk about Teresa Palmer as Rebecca, because yes, I know I have given Teresa Palmer shits in other movies. I don't think Teresa Palmer's a bad actress. I think she can be really good when she's given something good to work with. She just has been given really shitty projects, and she does pretty much everything that she's offered. The only movie I can really recall that I liked her in was Bedtime Stories, and that's kind of a problem. I really liked her in that movie, but she was really good here as this character, Rebecca. I really enjoyed her character. I actually, I also liked her in Warm Body. She was good in that too. But I actually really liked her in this. I thought her character, Rebecca, was actually very interesting. I like where they went with her character. This is a character that clearly, like I said, she's a very troubled past, and she doesn't really want anyone else to know about it. She's trying to run away from it, and overall, I thought she definitely gave one of the best performances in the movie. I thought overall she was very good. My only complaint is I did feel she was a little bit underdeveloped. I feel like they could have done a little bit more with her. But overall, I thought she anchored the film pretty well. You definitely do care for her, and you understand why she's going through what she is. And overall, I thought she definitely did a very good job. I really love what she had to do here. And then her brother Martin, played by Gabriel Bateman, continues to show why child performances are kind of completely anchoring the movie season right now, especially with horror movies. Gabriel Bateman is so great as this character of Martin, and that's mainly because you understand what Martin is going through. You most times when you put the little brother or the little sister in a movie, he's really annoying, but he actually wasn't annoying at all. You completely understand what he's coming from. He has this mother who he very much cares about, and that he really does want to live with, but he knows that there's just something not right with her, and he has to go to Rebecca about it. And the way that these two bonded, not clashed, but actually bonded over the situation, I thought was really different for a change. I like seeing these two actually bond. I like seeing Rebecca want to help Martin, and I like seeing her actually being someone that could take care of him. I really like their bonding overall. I think Martin did a really good job, and especially when you start to realize what's going on, he gave an incredible performance. I thought overall he was great. Definitely a very good performance, and again, he continues to be a really good child actor. However, by far the best performance of this entire movie has to come from Maria Bello as Sophie. I've never really thought much of Maria Bello. I think she's a good actress. I just haven't really thought a lot of what she's in, but damn was she good here. I mean, her character as Sophie is very hard to pull off because this is a character that could come across as very cheesy and very silly. This is someone who has a mental illness. A lot of times she looks very confused. A lot of times she looks like she's kind of dead, but she did that really well. Like, you really do understand her character. This is someone who actually does have a reason for being this way, and when we got into that eventual story, I'm like, okay, that really does make sense. That's why she's like this way, and it really does give you a good story to get behind. I thought overall she did a really good job here, especially in the second half of this movie. Holy shit, she was good. I really love what she did here, and you really do feel bad for her because again, once you find out what the twist is, I don't want to spoil what it is, but overall, I thought she did a really good job. I thought she really killed in this movie, and honestly was one of the best parts here. She definitely, one of the best performances I've seen from really any horror movie this year. She was great. And then someone else I really want to compliment that I was surprised was so good was Alexander DePersia as Rebecca's boyfriend, Brett. A lot of times I think the boyfriend character is the same. They're in denial. They are either, they're love struck or they're crazy or something like that. This one is surprisingly very grounded. Brett is someone who Rebecca's with to get away from, but he actually believes her throughout the entire movie. He's never in denial. There's no, oh, I don't believe you. There's no, I don't understand what you're saying. There's none of that, and I thought it actually worked really well here. I like that he believed her. I like that they went with the story, and I thought overall he definitely did a really good job. I really like what he did here, and overall, like I said, again, one of the better performances I've seen in a horror movie in a while, especially when they took something like the cliche boyfriend and actually made him a good character. I didn't think it would happen, but it actually did happen here, and it really does show why the movie is so great when it comes to the cast. So the cast here, I thought, like I said, definitely did a really good job. Let's get to the directing and the screenplay. The directing by David F. Sandberg, I was very much impressed with because, yes, this movie definitely is scary. It definitely is a horror movie, and you definitely get a very creepy vibe from it. And I thought he did a really good job with that tone. I really like what he had to do here, with that tone, especially in quite a few scenes. Definitely felt very scared. What I was even more impressed by was his amount of pathos that he put into this movie, because it's not easy to do. A lot of times, you want to go for a scare factor. Why does an audience go to see a horror movie? Because they want to be scared shitless. That's why. That's why people go see horror movies. That's what you want out of a horror movie. That's not exactly what David F. Sandberg decided to do here, and I honestly was very impressed by that. What this really is a family drama disguised as with horror movie elements. That's really what this is. I'm seeing a lot of that nowadays, and that's not a bad thing. I think there's a really good way of doing subgenres. That's exactly what this is. This is a subgenre type movie. Like I said, it's a family genre with horror elements, and the horror definitely is there. Definitely the horror is there. But this is definitely more of a family drama than I thought it was going to be. And the story here is one of the most well thought out stories I honestly could think of this year. I thought this was a very well done screenplay, and especially because the fact this is based on a 3-minute YouTube short, the fact that we were able to turn into a feature-length movie is really impressive. I was really worried that it was going to be something where it just felt like they could have ended it a lot sooner, but no, it actually worked really well. I really did get into the story, and I think they actually did a really good job with depicting mental illness. You really do understand why Maria Bello is this way. You feel for her character. You don't hate her character for it. You don't find her bitchy, and they did a really good job of that. They could have easily made Teresa Palmer very bitchy. They could have easily made Gabriel Bateman annoying. They could have easily made Maria Bello very intolerable, but for some way, they actually kept these characters very grounded, and that's something I was very impressed by. Also, these characters are very, very smart. They're not dumb at all. They don't really make a lot of dumb decisions. When there's a demon out there, they don't deny the demons there, just say, okay, we have something else to deal with, but then we'll deal with it. They don't know if it's actually out there, if there is a ghost or whatever, and I thought they did that pretty well. I really did like the way the characters were actually smart. It's not something you see nowadays in horror movies, and I was definitely very impressed by that. And the twist overall, like I said, really did make a lot of sense. Again, I don't want to talk a lot about the movie. I do want to talk about the scares, though, because this movie is genuinely scary. I jumped quite a few times, but the jump scares aren't false. They're actual jump scares, and let me just say, the first scene of this horror movie might be one of the best horror movie openings I've seen in such a long time. I think it shows you the concept, it shows you what kind of movie this is going to be, it perfectly puts you into that scenario, and I think they did that very, very well. Right away, I got right into the story, and just in general, the concept of being in the dark is something we can all relate to. I don't really think, there's been movies about it before, but this movie specifically, it's all about, what happens in the dark, and there's a reason why children are so afraid of the dark, and the way this movie reminds you why the dark is so scary. You know, you can't see anything. You don't know what's out there, if there is something when you turn these lights off. That's something the movie did really well. I thought they anchored that really well into the movie, and definitely something that I genuinely was scared by. There wasn't anything that didn't really work for me, and I thought overall the screenplay in general was very successful. My only problem with the movie, honestly, is that I think it's a little bit too short. I definitely will say that. I think the editing could have been a little bit longer. If the movie would have been maybe 10 minutes longer, this movie definitely would have gotten more of an impact on me. Not that I'm saying it's forgettable, because it's definitely not. But it's also not a movie that I'm like, oh, that is one of the greatest horror movies I've ever seen, which is completely fine. I'm just saying I think that if they maybe made it a little bit longer, this could have even been a little bit better. Maybe we could have developed Rebecca's character a little more, because I do think the characters are a little bit underdeveloped, and especially in the second half. But they did do a good job of blending character and horror in a way that other movies don't, and that's something I definitely was very impressed by in this movie. And I will admit, you can definitely tell this movie does have a low budget because the cinematography is not that great. I definitely will say that. Now, when you're in the dark, it really is great. I mean, especially the final act of this movie, truly chilling stuff. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen. When we do see the creature, though, I wasn't really that impressed. I think they could have just used the same creature that they used in the short. I think it would have been scary if they did that. I was fine with the way it looked. I just feel they could have done it a little bit differently. But I get it. It's supposed to be realistic in the way it was done. Again, I don't want to spoil what's going on there, but I thought that works pretty well. And the score was very chilling. I definitely did get the chills listening to the score, and I really did like that. The editing was fine. I just feel the movie could have been a little bit longer. And like I said, I think that would have just made the movie a little bit more memorable overall. But really, guys, Lights Out is one of the better horror movies I've seen in quite some time. I definitely really did enjoy this movie. I thought it had a really good blend of character and horror, something that a lot of movies don't really know how to do nowadays. And while the characters are a little bit underdeveloped, I still really was impressed by Lights Out. This continues to be one of the best years for horror films in a very long time, and I'm definitely going to give Lights Out a 4 out of 5 or a B+. But that's my review, Lights Out. Let me know what you guys thought of this movie. Have seen, love to hear your thoughts on it. This is definitely a movie that I do recommend you watch this month, guys. It is genuinely scary, but it also has some very good character moments, and generally is a movie where I think this is one of those horror movies where you could watch it and you'll actually feel maybe scared by it, and you'll actually get something from it, or you might just be bored. I have a friend who watched it and said it was extremely boring. I get it, honestly, I do. I really loved it. I thought it was a very good story, but that's in my review. Hope you guys enjoyed them. Let me know what you guys thought of this movie overall, and I will see you guys in my next video, which will be for another movie review. I'm going to continue to review all the horror movies of this year, whether they're good or bad, and during this month, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.